So, Geraldo, why am I wrong to not care more about who Harris's running mate is?
I think you should care because, it's almost like a marriage, and I don't, you can make jokes about that, but it's a partnership. It's 2 for 1. They have each other's back. They substitute for each other. They fill in. I definitely believe that the vice president, even though that person fades into a semi-obscurity, still they are the #1 fan of the person with the big job. And I think that to balance her, you had the congressman with the ridiculous, stupid DEI comment about Kamala, and I think that you were extremely gracious in allowing him to state his case, to the extent he could damage control. But there's no doubt she's qualified, and every one of the candidates that you mentioned is qualified.
Right.
Mark Kelly, of course, American hero. Astronaut, Navy veteran, a wonderful husband to Gabby Giffords, a gun control advocate, Arizona's key. Arizona is one of those swing states. He's a wonderful man. I've met him. I think I've met him. He has a twin brother. I don't know. Maybe I met the twin brother. But
I can't wait for the conspiracies about that. Dusty and I were joking about him having the twin. They'll say it was the other one. It's not him. One pushback, though, on Burchett. Biden is the one who set up Harris for this criticism. He was the one who said, I'm picking a black woman. He should have never done that. He should have picked Harris and then said, here's why she's qualified and she's a black woman. He set her up for it. Professor, help me out with this. The traditional notion of you got to pick from someone from the swing state and this is how it matters. What actually matters and how did you analyze it to come to this conclusion?
So it was a great introduction. Thank you very much. And I do acknowledge my co-author, Kyle Kopko, who helped me do all of this. So, Chris, to your question, do the running mates help in a swing state? Could you pick up a state by picking someone from that state? The evidence for that is very thin. It's something that seems true, and there's a long history of that. If we go back to, let's say, the 1800s, when local geography mattered more. Remember, politics is more nationalized these days, okay? So how many of you out there are going to be voting based on your identity coming from a certain state or a region? People generally just don't do that. They vote for a president. Now, the vice president matters, vice presidential candidate, because it tells you something about who that presidential candidate is. What's Kamala Harris's ideology, for that matter? What are her policy priorities? Does she have good judgment, or is she just going to make political decisions designed to win an election? That's the kind of thing we'll find out for this pick. So I do think it's very important.
Who do you like?
Who do I think would be the best pick? Out of the list that you have there, I think Mark Kelly could be a good one.
Anybody.
And Josh Shapiro.
Sorry. Well, what about, I heard that you picked Minnesota Governor Walz, who I think a lot of people are going to have never heard before. He's a very old school Democrat, like John Tester. He represented there from the Farmers Union Party. He was in the Congress, Geraldo, representing from the Farmers Party. So he's a different kind of Democrat, and Devine brought him up as a choice. What would he do?
He's really,
he's not going to do anything
out of the bunch. Oh, I'm sorry.
No. I know Geraldo's saying he's not going to get it, but why do you think, Devine, that he might get it? Or why you pick him?
Right. Yeah, I don't think he's the most likely candidate, but he's someone who has a great depth of experience in Congress and in the state. And I think that's important. Notice most of these people that we're talking about, their experience is in the states. And that's great. That can be really important, especially if they've actually been executives. That can be critical for a VP to advise a president well. But they also have to have or should have, ideally, some experience knowing how the federal government works, dealing in foreign relations. Can someone who's only served as a governor be prepared to step in and advise the president on foreign policy, even take over as commander-in-chief? Just 6 months from now, it helps to have someone who's been in Washington, too.
True. And now, look, Geraldo, I think it's obvious, but we might as well say it. Yeah, it's not going to be 2 women, and she's picking from mostly white men for a reason, right?
Right. Race and gender really matters. But one other point about picking the vice president. This is the first big decision that the person in the top job makes. This tests their judgment, their discretion, their experience, their vetting skills, their own maturity, Are they willing to share the stage with someone maybe more charismatic or not? I think that to in any way think that this decision is not enormous just because history says it doesn't matter if you come from Minnesota or New York or North Carolina or et cetera.
Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com, and you can find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button down below. Then you will get more of News Nation's fact-driven coverage.